All right, good morning, everyone. Here it is, Wednesday, August 27th, with SellaHouse, Arizona Wholesale Trading Series number 14. We've been doing these now for it's been a while because we started out doing them once every day, which was too much for our schedule. We dumped Tuesday because of other obligations, which was still a little too much for our schedule. We went down to 3 days a week: Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So just so you guys know our schedule, we are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 a.m. for the SellaHouse Trading Series. What we're all about is John and I are real estate wholesalers primarily. We do and we are getting into other aspects of real estate investing, but primarily we are wholesalers, and we have put 3 years into building a wholesaling business. And you know, from a couple of guys who knew nothing about, well, I mean, we knew stuff about real estate, obviously, a little bit, but just your general average Joe stuff. I mean, I bought a house one time. I don't know if John's ever purchased a house. I just follow real estate, so there's always something part of my life a little bit. I have some knowledge there, but never out of professional capacity, such as becoming a realtor or any sort of business involved with real estate. I was in construction and restaurants most of my life. I think John pretty much is the same. And so we're a couple of guys that have come from, pretty much not knowing anything about business and marketing and sales and real estate and everything that we're in doing right now, to building a business, just flipping the coin one day and saying, hey, you know what? This life sucks, basically. We're going to do something different. And, we just happen to be two people at the same place at the same time that made a connection. The universe hooked us up, and we've grown together and built this business into something that is allowed us basically to not have to work those construction jobs any longer. Now, obviously, we're not rolling in the dough yet, making tens of thousands of dollars a month or hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, but it's on the schedule. It's in the plans moving forward. And so what we do now is we offer the ability for you guys to jump on board into a real estate wholesaling business. Instead of back there 3 years ago where we started out, you guys can jump on board with our team, and you can start out right now where we are, 3 years into the future. Skip all the mumbo jumbo BS about having to try to figure it all out on your own. We get you right into the meat of actually finding and doing a deal, and getting you started with actually cashing a check and feeling the power of what wholesaling can do for you, and let you figure it out, figure out all the other moving parts from there. So we do, I don't know, what do you call it, inside out wholesaling training. So with that, I want to say good morning to John, and let him give you an intro here.
Oh, good morning, Paul. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week, and this is the second training call we've done this week. And as Paul said, we've been at this business now for 3 years, and I have a very similar background to Paul. I come from construction. That's basically grew up working in the trades. I was always a little bit different though than the average tradesman. I always had a mindset that I was gonna start my own business one day, and I did that about 9 years ago. I started the paint business. That was my first introduction into a business. I was very fortunate. My boss at the time had brought me into his company as a partner, so I was lucky to have a mentor, someone that already had established a business, knew how to establish businesses, set up an LLC, had attorneys, had CPAs, everything like that. Sorry, Paul, my phone's ringing. I put my block mode on. It's not supposed to ring. That can only be one person, the mother of my children. But anyways, yeah. So we have very similar backgrounds. Like as I said, I got my first introduction into starting a business about 9 years ago, and I met Paul 3 years ago, and we were both in the same place, looking to do something different. I realized with the paint business, I basically owned my own job. I was in the field applying paint to the walls every day. The only difference between that and going to work for somebody else for an hourly wage was that, I got to call the shots. But I did want something different, and getting into this and the changes that I've made, and Paul and I have both made and learned along the way, has not only transformed our wholesale business, but taking these concepts to transform my paint business as well, transform my life. Basically, I'm definitely a better person today than I was 3 years ago. And you might say to yourself, well, how did wholesaling accomplish that for you? It taught me a lot of concepts that you're going to need to understand to not only be successful in a wholesaling business, but to be successful with any business. There's universal concepts, there's universal rules, there's universal laws, which I've learned that apply to almost every area of your life. And with wholesaling, as we've said in earlier videos, the thing that you really want to be successful, then the most important thing to understand is that it's really not about real estate, but it's about sales and marketing. That is where the rubber meets the road. That is where the production and the money is made in sales and marketing. That goes for any business you're going to start. Wholesaling, the vehicle that we chose, just happens to be something we're passionate about because we really enjoy real estate. And with that being said, I think Paul was talking to me this morning before getting on this hangout. Unfortunately, Paul, I can't see your face. I know you're there. I can hear you. So I don't know if you're signaling me or not to kind of pass the buck back over to you. But what we're going to talk about today, I think, is Paul had mentioned a couple deals that came in from other wholesalers that we're going to be looking into today and comping, putting a value on them, maybe go out, see the properties, look at pictures, determine a good sale price, determine what we can get the property for so we can figure out our markup, what our profit's going to be, and then we're going to take those properties and we're going to market them to the buyers that we have on our list. So, Paul, with that being said, why don't you kind of, get into what you wanted to talk to me about with these properties today?
Yeah, awesome. Real quick, just a quick touch on what John was talking about there. I mean, we've so far in these training series, we're on 14. We've brought you guys from a whole lot of ideas about how, things that you're going to have to change in your life, et cetera, and so on. We've kind of given you an overview of some of the basic things that you're going to have immediately right now, and things that you're going to have on your, to get done list. Some ASAP, some as you move forward in your wholesaling business. And I just want to add one little overall concept to kind of cover everything that we've really gotten to from these 14 trainings so far. And that's the fact that, not just in wholesaling. If you are in a place in your life right now where you want something different, you want something more, you want a better life moving forward, that if you can see your future from right now moving forward, that it ain't going nowhere, it's not changing, it's not going to get any better, it's probably going to get it worse just because of the economy and all the other aspects. But two basic concepts that you're going to have to embrace into your life, and that's number one, you need to become someone who is teachable. In other words, you need to have a willingness to learn, and you're going to have to look at things in your life and be willing to give up things in your life in order to be able to make time for you to learn new concepts and ideas. And then the second thing is you're going to have a willingness to accept change and to apply change to your life, to yourself, and all of these things. And that is where John was saying, hey, how did wholesaling change me as a person? Well, you know what? Not just wholesaling. If you want to do anything in your life, if you want to change anything in your life and get, have something better and more moving forward, these concepts are going to apply to you. You're going to become a different person moving forward in whatever you decide to do, whether it's real estate, network marketing, starting a brick and mortar business, whatever. If you want to be successful at it, you're going to become a different person over the course of the next 3 years. That's just the bottom line. So embrace that concept, look forward to it, and that's where you'll have some success. Now, getting into what John was talking about, yeah, we got a couple of deals here on the table, and I should have, maybe I still can. We got in, John, a couple of deals that I don't know. Actually, you sent me two of these, and I think I sent you one. We have obviously some different connections, John and I, to some different people. Certain emails come into certain locations, certain emails come into John's, certain come into mine. We both obviously can share each other's emails so we can go look at them or whatnot, or we just send them back and forth to the primaries that we look at. But I got one in yesterday from another wholesaler, and this looks like a really good property. If his comps are good on this one, John, which he's got one, I haven't looked at the square footages or anything like that and done an apples to apples comparison on this one yet. But if his comps are good, if there was one, a similar comp that sold for 590 very recently, and another similar comp that sold for 550 very recently, then he's given this a 580 ARV, and we got a sale price on it of what is that sale price? 341 maybe. I think.
Oh, and now
Yeah,
he's asking 421 for the property. It has a $585,000 ARV.
right. So if that's accurate, if you look at 585 and considering the size of the property, the location, everything else, there's some pictures in there. It doesn't look bad. I would definitely say you're probably going to redo that kitchen. Cabinets might be salvageable. I'm not sure. Have to take a closer look at that. But you're probably going to be doing some upgrades in the bathrooms as well. So I'm looking at, and then the paint, flooring, and carpet, of course, your standard stuff there, appliances and fixtures. So, I'm looking at a guy who might be able to squeeze out of this thing at $35,000, maybe $40,000. And at that price, I think there's a little bit of room for us to find a buyer on this and pull out maybe 5 to 10 grand. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the pictures now on it. Beautiful backyard. That's a great sell point. 4 bedrooms, maybe some kitchen upgrades. And, like if I run those numbers real quick, me and Paul have buyers that'll typically take a property, ARV, which is after repair value. That's what you determine when you get into a rehab project. That's what you're determining is going to be the retail sales price after you do your remodel. That's what the ARV is. And, let's just assume a lot of people out there, Paul, maybe don't know all these terms just yet. So you'll hear a lot of different things when you take wholesaling courses out there saying, you want to bid 60% of the ARV and minus your repair costs. We get deals like that. They're few and far between in this market especially. So we talked about in earlier trainings about knowing your buyer. So with that being said, we know our buyers want to get 80% of the ARV minus whatever repair costs they have to put into it as a purchase price. So, $585,000, Paul, at about 80% of value puts it at 468. And you said how much for a rehab? About 40,000.
I think, like I said, looking at the pictures look good. Like you said, there's no probably any landscaping to add into that. No roof or it's new enough. I don't think there's any roof or AC or anything to worry about on something like that. You know what I mean? Flooring, I didn't really look at the flooring itself. Maybe there's good tile in that because it's kind of new enough. Maybe it's just a carpet situation. Definitely a paint job on the inside. The outside might not need to be done. So if you're looking at just kitchens and bathrooms pretty much with some fixtures and paint and carpet, yeah, I think a guy the size of this house and the location of it where it is too, because this is not your $100,000 house that's a rental property. So you're looking at this as a retail flip to an end user buyer, and they're going to want for this specific location, they're going to want higher end quality stuff that you're putting in there. So I think a guy can do a kitchen and a couple of bathrooms and that sort of stuff. 35,000 tops. I mean, if there's some extras, maybe have to push it up to 40. Like I said, we won't know any of that stuff until we walk in there and look at it. But I think I think we can very easily right now, just from pictures and whatnot, say, you know what, I think a guy could probably get that done for 35K.
All right. With that being said, 80% of $585,000, assuming the wholesaler has a good ARV and use good comps, which Paul seems pretty confident about. That means, that puts 80% of that is 468,000, and assuming 35,000 in repairs means that potentially one of our buyers would pay $433,000 for that property. And so the asking price from this wholesaler, let me go back to the email,
421.
Was 421, correct?
Yeah.
421, which means, you know what, we can mark that up about 12 grand and bring it to our buyer, and we have a $12,000 spread on the price that it came into us at from one of our connections. Now, every wholesaler we work with, depending on our relationships, a little bit different. Some we have to take their properties and mark them up. Others will have a little piece of the pie included in their pricing. What's the deal on this one?
It's been a while since I spoke with Tim, and it all really kind of depends. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about this particular property, so it all depends on what he's got worked out. This did come off of MLS, I saw, so so it all depends on what they're pulling it down at. But it looks like a pretty good price. The one downfall to this one is that it has been sitting on MLS for some time, and the price that is being offered out here as wholesale is only $3 grand less than what it was sitting on MLS for. So, is there really something here? Are those comps right? Maybe this property has matured into a position where the number is now good. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different variables here that could come into play that could render this a no deal, but it's got potential for us to look at, I think.
Well, those numbers get me out the door to go look at it. Basically, before Paul and I will go look at a property or bring it to one of our buyers or spend our time, even going to the comps, is, hey, you know what? Let's take it on face value. We kind of know which wholesalers are out there that are sending us stuff that we typically look at what they're claiming their ARV is, and we know, oh, this came from so-and-so. I'm not going to say any names. I don't want to insult anybody. This came from so-and-so, and they say the ARV is 150 grand. We know right off the bat it's probably closer to like 110, 120, because there's those guys, and we know who they are, that overinflate the case, and they do it every time, and they pull comps from areas that make no sense to the house. With that being said, we also know that some of the more reputable wholesalers out there that are sending us their deals, they usually hit it on the head, or they're pretty damn close. So the first thing that I like to do when we get a deal like this is just run a quick number. Hey, they say it needs 40 grand in repairs. They say the ARV is this. Let me do my equation. Hell, you know what? They've got this out at a number that works. Let me send it over to Paul, or Paul sends it over to me, and that's when we go to work on it and look at some of the comps for ourselves, break down the costs, look at the pictures, and if all looks good, we'll contact the wholesaler, figure out what the deal is, and then probably go look at it so when we present it to our buyers, we know what we're presenting and we don't look like jackasses, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to be able to. We have a reputation of bringing deals to the table, and we don't want to be the guy that's out there seen as just grabbing every piece of poo that John spoke about that comes our way and just tacking $2 grand on it and throwing it out without doing the research. We're the filter for our buyers. Okay, we look at a lot of properties that come in from other wholesalers every day, and how many do we send out to our buyers? Out of 10 that come into our inboxes every day, we send out about 2 a week, 3 a week maybe.
If that, sometimes it's just total. I almost said a curse on air.
Oh my gosh! So yeah,
yeah.
we don't want to be seen as the guy that's just grabbing garbage and tacking money onto it and throwing it out there and wasting somebody else's time, wasting the people with the money. You don't want to be wasting the people with the money's time, because next thing you know, guess what? You get deleted off of their email acceptance list, and you're sending out these emails, and they're not even seeing the stuff you're sending out, even though it's crap and they're going to buy it anyway. But if you do get something, but if you did get something real and good, you sent it out there. Well, they've already deleted you because you've already sent them too much crap, and they said, "I'm tired of looking at this guy's stuff." Didn't you just talk to a buyer that told you something like that, John?
Yeah, actually, that we talked about this one on the call about probably 2 weeks ago. Was that one that I had optioned on a Sunday, and we had it tied up with a buyer by that Wednesday, and it ended up closing a week later. One of the buyers that contacted me off our list, we do a lot of different marketing campaigns to find buyers, Craigslist, direct mail, word of mouth, networking. So in some capacity, he had found his way onto our buyers list. This buyer made the comment you're talking about, Paul, and I sent out the blast of our deal, the one on it was up in North Phoenix, and he opened the email and he called me up, and it was he ended up not being the guy to buy the deal. It was enticing to him, and he had, you know, it was when we met at the house that when I showed him the property, it was the first time that we had met face to face, and it was really the first time we had a conversation. And he's like, and it was a compliment to me, and it was a compliment to Paul as well to hear one of our buyers say that, hey, you know, he opens all the emails that he gets from SellaHouse Arizona and TWP, one of our affiliate companies that contracts property. He opens all our emails because we're not the guys that are just slapping a fictitious number on a property and blasting, you know, shit to people and telling them it's gold, you know, and telling them it's champagne. When it's garbage, it's garbage. And that's a fantastic compliment, and you want to be that person, I feel, that that is known for that. You know, that's, you know, he said, you know, there's a lot of crap coming in, and you guys don't typically send crap, and you guys have emails worth opening. And that was a fantastic compliment for us in our business that, you know, we're doing the right thing out there.
Are you seeing my screen now, John? Check this out.
You're up. Yeah, I see. Paul, why don't you take it back and kind of show us what you're looking at there?
This is the house on Zillow that we were just talking about, and you know, obviously you can see right here it's a good looking house. I could probably flip through a couple of pictures here. Look at that, it's got some solar on the roof. There's a plus. The yard looks great.
I like that.
Yeah, tile with solar. It is a corner house. That might be a slight detraction, but you know, looks good. I don't see anything major going on here. There's a nice little feature that it has. I see carpets might not even need to be replaced on this thing. You know what I mean? What else we got? The kitchen. See, that's depends on what a guy wants to do. You know, the guy could look to maybe save that older style kitchen. It depends on the neighborhood and whatnot, and just upgrade everything else. Or this might be a complete rip this kitchen out. Hard to see what.
Yeah, I would say we'd have to see that one in person. Off the bat, Paul, it looks like a good kitchen. Maybe you're just doing countertops, and I would go with stainless steel appliances, and of course paint.
Yeah.
You know, again, that's something that we would have to see in person to really make that determination.
Oh, it has a swimming pool too. There's a plus. I didn't know that. I didn't see the swimming pool in the other picture. So I mean, this is a really good looking house. This very well could achieve the ARV that he's talking about. I think we have to look a little bit closer now, because obviously we're not going to get anything from Zillow. Looking at, obviously they have a pending, so their estimate is going to be based off that pending, which has it at 421, which is what we're asking. You know, so obviously wholesaling properties at the value is not what we do. You know what I mean? So, but I think that, like I said, because this is actually pending, because it did come down off the MLS, et cetera, and so on, that has distorted Zillow's value right there. We have to do some more looking into this property. But so I just wanted to show you. There's a quick little view of what some of the things. One of the first things we'll do. We can actually come down here and take a look. This is an interesting thing to look at. See that in 1992 it sold for $179,000, and so this looks like it's been a one-owner property until they just now started to want to sell it. There hasn't been any bank activity or anything else going on in here, and then they just now decided they want to sell it, and it's been on the market for 3 months here, and now it's pending. They've dropped the price only $20,000, which is not bad for that high value right there. A lot of times, a $450,000 house will be dropped down to 390 or something like that before it sells. So that's an interesting, good little sign. So I mean, there's some things we have to look at. 450, 450. I don't know. I'm not seeing any 500s. Maybe there's some inflated value here. I don't know. We need to just check those things out and see what really is.
Hey, could you scroll back down? I want to point one other. I want to scroll back down to the graph section and the price history section.
Am I scrolling on the screen?
Yep, it's going perfect. Scroll back up just slightly.
The
Up
graph?
on the graph. Yeah, I love these graphs. I mean, obviously it's an average, and you can see the high point of the market, 2011, and then things going back up. But I find it very interesting when you see this home, and again, this could be because it's pending at a lower price and dropped to 400. But you see that straight line there that goes back to about right there, that straight line. That's what's happening to the market. And you see all that appreciation from 11 to where Paul's pointed it out, and that's what we've been talking about, that appreciation rate there. A lot of investors buying late last year thinking that was going to continue and how this market is flatline. And when you bring up this, most of the homes that we're working with in Phoenix, that's what I'm seeing on most all the graphs. And it's not just this home, then homes in Phoenix. You see Phoenix homes, flatline. Paradise Valley, which is borders Phoenix. It's a rich, it's upscale. $500,000 homes, obviously, flatline too. And when you look at as many properties as Paul and I, and you will too if you're going to get into this business, this is where you really develop like insider knowledge almost of what the hell is going on, that most investors that are jumping in the game, Johnny come latelys, they're not looking at this. They're not touching this stuff every single day. I just wanted to point out that part of the graph.
Yeah, and what we talked about the other day too, about how Phoenix is like leading the nation in real estate activity and what's going on, and as far as like setting the pace for the other markets of the country. As you can see, obviously here in 2006, we started the major decline. Bam, bam, bam. A little false little whoop-de-doo right here where the values kind of, so, everybody thought we hit bottom, but we didn't, and then they kind of came up a little bit, but then all of a sudden we plummeted down to the true bottom, which hit, in early 2011, which that's actually very accurate. And then we started, just skyrocketing. The investors, everybody said, you know what, this is the bottom. We're buying, we're buying, we're buying. And all the investors were here. This is right here is about the time when the hedge funds jumped in, and then and if you look at this time frame right here, boom, right here. This is November 2012. All right, and look at it. We got a little flat line action going on right there for all the way through February. About 4 months of kind of a flat line there until the investors showed up, the big hedge funds, and bam, all of a sudden here we skyrocketed up again. And then all of a sudden now the hedge funds bail out of town, and look at the timing. August of 2013, they were here for about a year, and then they bailed, and then all of a sudden, boom, look at this. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And everybody here is buying, 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 thinking that this is still going to go up, that we just hit a little glitch, we hit a little flat line, and we're going to pick back up. And all through this period of time, right through here, all the way through to December 2013, everybody's buying, anticipating more of this. And look what we got, more of this. And that's where people got trapped. And you in your market right now, you might be anywhere from, your market might just be bottoming out right now. Who knows? But you could be anywhere from there. You could be anywhere into this phase right here. You could be in this flatline section already. You could be somewhere in this phase. And you know what? Right here, this is where you got to be careful. But I'll tell you what, you can wholesale properties at any phase in any of all that. So don't let it bother you as to what phase that you're in as far as being able to wholesale. Just understand where you are and who you're going to be wholesaling to and how. That's the key.
Yeah.
So with that, John, you know what? We're pretty much out of time. We've run this one actually a little long because we got into some really awesome content here. So I'm going to throw it back to you for a quick note, and let's get on out of here, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
Yeah, I want to just quick note that Paul said this wholesaling. Oh, let me move back a little bit. I'm just staring at your graph, Paul. Like Paul said, this wholesaling works in the down market, it works in the up market, and it works in a flatline market. But I love wholesaling when the market's coming down because that's where you will find the more motivated sellers. Because when the public catches on to a crash or to a perceived price drop, that's when people get desperate, and that's when they really start letting go of properties. And I think we're going to experience that again. That's my opinion. And I think that for people that want to get into wholesaling, now is the time to learn this business. Now is the time to contact us at propertynoodlers@gmail.com and get on board and learn how to wholesale some deals, learn how to negotiate, learn how to sell, learn how to market, learn all these concepts, because we're about to hit another point in real estate where if you go into this next crash, with this knowledge, you can really, really turn your life around. And when the next time the economy tanks, it could be the most prosperous time of your life. And with that being said, I'd like to end with the Napoleon Hill prayer, like we did on Monday, and make this kind of something that's routine here that we do on these hangouts, because it's something that everyone needs to consider. And that goes, O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, through the power to direct my own mind to whatever ends that I may desire. I'll see everybody back here on Friday, and make it a great week. Thanks for being part of these hangouts.
Yeah, I just brought this up real quick, guys, because I obviously forgot. We're still a little new with all this Google Hangout stuff, and there's so many things you can do. I just wanted to throw the Gmail up there, Property Noodlers, so you guys can see it. Go there, sign up, get on board, get doing some wholesaling, put some checks in the bank.